Woo. I feel like the rookie who on the very first day she's called up to the major leagues knocks the baseball, a bat-splitting smack, clear out of Fenway Park. The rookie who, after her very lucky first hit, stands rooted beside home plate thinking, what did I just do? That's me, flash frozen in disbelief. What? Since I heard I Know Here is the picture book winner of the 2010 Boston Globe Horn Book Award. Way, way, way beyond my daydreaming orbit, the news too surreal, too out of this world abstract to hold in my mind for longer than a few seconds. What I was able to grasp, though, was a little matter of an acceptance speech. My acceptance speech. My 10 to 15 minute acceptance speech. My 10 to 15 minute acceptance speech to be printed afterwards in the Horn Book magazine. No problem, no pressure, easy peasy for someone else. All summer, obsessively, some in my family might say, I thought about it and I thought about them. Them? The people. All the people, the audience who are going to listen to what I have to say. You. I asked, what am I going to tell them? Finally, my husband Mike said, just tell them your story. That's what they want to hear. It's a good one. And so that's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to tell you, all of you, my story, the story of how I Know Here came to be written. It is a good one. Whenever I begin to write a story, I spend an inordinate amount of time on two things, two entwined things. Two things, and not always in this order. Number one, discovering where the story should start. It's tricky choosing the right spot to dive into the telling of it. How far into the action is too far or not far enough? Number two, finding, nudging out my character's voice so that he or she is heard clear and true right off the bat. So, when I sat down to write this speech, I had to figure out first where to begin. Initially, I was going to steal a paragraph from my website where I talk about becoming a writer, a simple in and out cut and paste job. For a very long time, I dreamed about being a writer, I say on my website, but I never actually got around to, well, writing. Dreaming about writing was fun and it was easy until one morning I woke up and said, I have to do this now. And I enrolled at Ryerson University in the fall of 2003. That's a safe place for me to dive in, but it's not the right spot. If I am approaching this story the same way I approach every other story I write, if I am to be heard clear and true, I need to back up a bit and start not at Ryerson, but in a doctor's office in 2002, a month or so after I'd had surgery for lung cancer. Mike and I were there to discuss treatment options with the oncologist. There weren't any. He told us that radiation wasn't necessary. He told us that chemo, for my kind of cancer, was being tested, but wasn't available. He told us that successful surgery, like mine, was about as hopeful gets with lung cancer. As we were leaving, he gave me some advice, the only tangible option he could offer. He said, don't wait 5 years to live your dreams. For the longest time, actually up until I wrote the previous couple of paragraphs, having survived lung cancer was not something I openly shared, especially with strangers. Why? In part because it is my nature to be reticent, but mostly I did not want to be defined by the disease. Did not want to be branded, looked at differently, treated differently, pitied. Did not want that letter C pinned to my shirt. But of course it defines me. Me before, me after. How could it not? And more to the point, it defines, invades, pervades, and informs my writing. A friend of mine once said, "Your stories embrace a melancholy sadness that is always wrapped in hope." Even today, when I sit down to write, along with my dictionary, my thesaurus, my sticky notes, my pencil, my laptop, I carry that doctor's words to the table with me. A whisper after 8.5 years, but there, still there. Don't wait 5 years to live your dreams. So, one morning, thanks to that doctor, I woke up and said, I have to do this now. In the fall of 2003, I enrolled at Ryerson in a continuing education class called True to Life, Writing Your Own Story. I stopped dreaming about writing, and unsure, self-doubting, terrified, I began to write. I am a steadfast believer in serendipity, a gift from my illness. I'm just going to grab water. Hold on. I'm sorry, I have water. I need water. Okay, better? Okay. Can't remember where I am, but hold on. Okay. I stopped dreaming about writing, and unsure, self-doubting, terrified, I began to write. I am a steadfast believer in serendipity, a gift from my illness. And as it happens, the very first class assignment was this: draw a map of your earliest remembered neighborhood. Bring this neighborhood to life, and then tell a story from the map. My father was an engineer, heavy construction. He built roads and subways and dams in Ontario, Quebec, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. I was a construction child. By the time I was 14, I'd moved 9 times. That writing assignment carried, transported me back to living beside a dam site in Saskatchewan just before leaving for Toronto. I was 4 when I arrived, my 3rd move, and barely turned 7 when I left. And the memories of that time became the nucleus, the heart of I Know Here. My brother Doug, 2 years older, has lots of "it was a great place to live" memories, but he doesn't remember in quite the same way my younger sister and I do. For Kathy and me, it was home. It was our world. And except for the hill, a good tobogganing hill when it snows, we thought it was flat. For Doug, it was a home. It wasn't his first remembered neighborhood. He was old enough to know the world was round, that our stay in Saskatchewan was temporary. I didn't do what the little girl in the book does. I didn't draw a picture of everything I knew and loved and wanted to remember and fold it up and put it safe in my pocket to bring with me to Toronto, but I remembered. Memories that are in the book: the road, the trailers, the howl of the wolf, the smell of the fox, the stare of the moose, the forest fire, the airplane, and memories that aren't in the book. Splashing in the swimming pool that Perini, the company my dad worked for, built so we could cool down on dusty, hot summer days. Reeling in my first fish, a pike from the North Saskatchewan River, and insisting on eating it for dinner, 95% bones. Hunting for loose change on the ground behind our trailer after my parents' party, after the martinis, after the fathers on our road hung upside down from the monkey bars. Chasing the ptarmigans through the bush, their glinting, bead-black eyes easy to spot in the snow, or clumsy winter boots, no match for their better-than-snowshoes feathered feet. Dancing in and out of a rain cloud parked above the middle of the road. It's raining, it's not raining, it's raining, it's not. Kathy, the frog catcher in the book, says this of I Know Here. Each time I read it, I have such a deep sense of home and belonging that it is beyond words. I feel the same way, only I found the words. And by some miracle, I did mention I am a steadfast believer in serendipity, didn't I? Over a number of years, after many, many fits and starts, and many, many rewrites, that assignment became I Know Here, a book. And by some other miracle, or maybe the same one, the book was found and read and reviewed. And, more miracles, it won an award. And, no more miracles, I found out I had to write a speech. So, the speech writing was going as well as can be expected until late one night, after laboring and belaboring all day, I decided I should read some of the speeches written by past Boston Globe Horn Book Award winners. They're easy to find online. In fact, Fred Horler from Grandwood had sent me the link months ago. I read a few, shut down my computer, and went to bed, and panicked. My speech was more about me than the book. Those speeches, the ones I read, were more about the book than the author. They delved, brilliantly, into the book's meaning, into the broader meaning, into the broader meaning's meaning for children, for adults, for the world. Mine wasn't enough. In the morning, still unsure, self-doubting, terrified, nothing much has changed in 7 years of writing, I sat in front of my computer, thinking, obsessively, some in my family might say, about how I could make my speech more than enough. What to say, what to say, what to say. Until finally, Mike said, Laure, stick to your story. It's enough. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say my thanks and end my speech and be done. It is enough. I had a lot of help writing I Know Here. Thank you, Beth Kaplan, for getting me started and keeping me going. Thank you, Peter Carver and Ted Staunton, for encouragement along the way. And thank you, Tim Wynne-Jones, for saying, send this off now. It's really good. Thank you, Matt James. A huge I can't thank you, enough thank you, for your wonderful, full of wonder art, for making my story our story. Thank you, Patsy Aldana, Michael Solomon, Nan Froman, Kate McQuaid, Fred Horler, and everyone else at Groundwood Books. You are a dream publisher, better than a dream, all of you, every step of the way. Thank you, Roger Sutton, for noticing I Know Here, and for somehow figuring out that the dam my father helped build was indeed the E.B. Campbell Dam, completed in 1963. Thank you, Boston Globe Horn Book Award judges, for giving me this chance to play in the big leagues alongside John Birmingham and Jerry Pinkney. It's an honor, an unbelievable honor. And last, but always first with me, my family. My husband, Mike, my daughters, Shannon, Katie, and Allie, my son, Jake. As much as I began writing for myself 7 years ago, I also began writing for you. To give you, in those stories I wrote in Beth's class, something of me, something of us, something tangible. Thank you.